Hey guys, so you guys voted on Discord for the map Split as our next Molly lineup guide. I have these lineups documented in a doc, which I will put in the description below. Let's get it. So let's start right here on A site. First default plant spot here at elbow. There are 4 lineup spots for that plant. The first one, and my favorite one, most used one, is this one, where you aim your crosshair into this line, you look at it, walk in the wall, and then you line up with this little corner on this metal bar here. The left HUD line, the right side of the left HUD line right here. Lined up with that corner. Pop your molly. It should bounce on the floor and land perfectly for default. Okay. The next one would be right here, just right next to that spot. Here. Jump on this ledge. And you aim your crosshair just about right here. So for me, for my crosshair actually touches the bottom, the right side of that line, that light right there. You see? Molly. So I shoot it. It'll bounce on the floor. Actually lands perfectly onto the bomb. Okay, there's this other one where you stand on top of this flower pot, and what happened is you line up your crosshair with this line, look all the way up until where you see that line, that light on the top of the building is about to go away. Just pop it right there. Bounce on the sign, actually, yep, and then bounce, and right here, covering the default plant spot. Okay. And the last one would be this one, where you look down at the light and then you walk forward. You line up your crosshair with the ledge of this wall, okay? But then you want to go a little to the right where it creates a little angle, and then you pop it to also bounce perfectly on the bomb area, just like that. Perfect. Alright, so our next default plant spot would be right here behind the sign. There are also 4 lineup spots for that plant. So let's go to the first one here, also the one that I use the most often, is you also line up right here, the line. And so what happened is this time you lined up the line between the stim beacon and molly icon to that line right there, you see? Again, this little corner, line up the left side of that line, pop it, it bounce perfectly onto default, boom, boom, right on the bomb. Okay, so for this other one, right here, you don't actually jump onto the flower pot, you just stand right in front of it like this, and wedge yourself in the corner, and then you line up everything right here, right? So you can see right here, you can see right here, I line up all my HUD lines to it, you see? Just like that, right? Let's do it again. You're right here. I line up this corner right here. Molly! Pop it. Also bounce perfectly up the bomb, right? Like that. Okay. There's one from ramp where you just come into this corner. You just gotta make sure you watch out for heaven, right? When you do this. So what happened is you line up with this right here. You see this vine, and then you line up the bottom of the triangle. You see the tip of the triangle with the darker wood and that vine. Line up with that little corner. Pop it. Should also bounce perfectly and clear the sign and land on default. Okay, so the last one would be from heaven. For some reason you're here. Right here. You line up right here. You can also use this as a denial kind of thing. You just line up your crosshair over here. Molly! And just bounce it off the bat. Should land on default. Oh, let's do it again here. Let me just show you exactly where. So you line up your crosshair to about right here.
Molly.
Pop it. Bounce off the back wall. You can use it to deny bomb plant or, you know, just to do post plant. So now I'm going to show you
Got the spike.
a couple weird spots around the sign.
Spike dropped.
I do see people plant right here on the right side of the sign because this plant spot is actually safe from elbow, but especially when heaven is smoked off. And there's a lineup spot for that. So you go back here and then you jump
Right
on
here.
this ledge. What happened is you line up the HUD line with this little corner. So this first thick line here. Line up the squiggly, the tip of the squiggly to that line.
Molly.
Pop it. Should bounce off the sign. And perfectly for this bomb plant. Right?
Got the spike.
For this other bomb plant spot,
Spike
would be
dropped.
in front of the sign. Sometimes I see people do this for heaven. So what happened is you also go back here to the same spot. However, this time you move your HUD a little to the left and you line up the right side of that HUD to that corner. You see? Same corner right here. That this time you line up that right side of that line.
Molly.
Boom. This will just bounce on the floor and bounce off the back. And perfectly on the bottom.
Got the
So
spike.
for the next plant spot would be right here.
Spike dropped.
I would argue that this is actually the strongest plant spot for Brimstone because if you plant right there and if you have your ultimate, this is actually a guaranteed kill if someone were to try to tap the bomb. And also at the same time, after the split update, Riot pushed this corner a little farther out so that you can actually peek this corner from heaven, from rafters, just like this. If you were ever up here, this is actually a good way for your teammate or yourself to defend it. So that's why I would think that's a very good spot. So there's 3 Molly lineup spots for that. The first one would be right here. Same thing. You line up your crosshair with this line, walk forward until you hit the wall. And then what happened is you line up the tip of the Molly icon to the bottom of this white dot. You got to make sure it's to the bottom, right? You can see it right there. White dot. Bottom of the white dot. Okay?
Molly.
So that this way it will clear this ledge and land perfectly on the bomb, covering a lot of surface area. Maybe guarantee you a kill. So the other spot would be
Right
you
here.
wedge yourself the bottom ramp here into this corner. And you see this line right here? There's these 2 sets of grids. And so you line up the left white dot to the very last line of the grid right here.
Molly.
Pop it. Also clear this ledge. And cover this bomb plant spot. Okay, for some reason, for the next Molly lineup spot is you're on the go, right? For some reason you have to challenge it, and so this is when you're here in A main. You run out here, you aim anywhere in this white surface area, bounce it off.
Molly.
It should bounce right into the bomb plant spot. And if you need to challenge the diffuser, that would be the lineup that I would go for. So let's do it again. Anywhere right here.
Molly.
Bounce it off. Lands perfectly right here. Okay. So for the next lineup spot is actually invented with the Killjoy All.
Right here.
Killjoy All right here. The only spot open for the enemy to hide in is this little corner. However, you can also use it as a post plant denial if you ever are in CT in the screen area. So you go to the second line right here, walk into it, and what happened is you see these balcony. So you want to have your crosshair on the 3rd balcony, just like this. You see, 1, 2, 3, 3rd balcony, and just anywhere.
Molly.
Shoot it, and it should also land perfectly, denying this bomb plant. All right, so for this other
Got the
corner
spike.
plant spot right here, which is also very
Right here.
strong for
Spike dropped.
when Brimstone has ultimate, there's 2 lineup spots for that. So the first one is this one. Again, come back out here, line up your crosshair with the line. And so what happened is you line up, you have your shoot indicator top left corner touching this gray bar, and then you have the line between Stim Beacon and Molly icon touching the top of that line right there, you see? So touching gray bar right here, touching line down here. Let's do it again. You see right here? So pop it.
Molly.
Clears the sign and then lands, covering this whole surface area. So when I
Got the
walk into
spike.
it, you can see that the enemy would be burning when they
Spike
try
dropped.
to defuse that bomb. And so for this other spot is right here.
Right here.
You don't jump onto the flower pot again. And so what happened is you lined up this line right here. You line up with this line, and then you line up with this line. Okay? You see this little corner? See the long line lining up right here? Just like this.
Molly.
Pop it. This one will also bounce on the floor and then lands perfectly to cover this entire surface area. Just like that. Probably will guarantee your kill.
Got the
So last
spike.
but not least, for this last spot right here.
Spike dropped.
This is planted for A heaven in
Spike
that
here.
corner. What happens is you also come back out here to A main. Right here by sewers, line up with this line, walk into the wall, and you line up with the tip of the Molly icon with this white dot. Left white dot right here. Line it up. Shoot it.
Molly.
It should land perfectly. The spike. Just like that. That's it for A site. Let's move on to B site. B site. So after patch 2.01, Riot has added this extra plant spot
Spike drop.
on split. This is a very good plant spot because you can plant for heaven and also plant for garage.
Got the spike.
So let's say if you plant
Spike drop.
all the way over here, you can defend it from heaven and you can also defend it for garage. So there's 4 lineup spots for this plant. First one, let's just go here to CT.
Right
You
here.
stand in this corner. This one we found with the help of Novas. And so you kind of line up the left hut line, the little curvy part to this little lighter area. So I'll show you like like this.
Molly.
Shoot it. And it will bounce on the roof and bounce, land on the bomb. Just like that. So this other one, also Novas helped find on stream actually.
Right
is
here.
You come here and
Right
wedge
here.
yourself in this corner. And you see this little orange triangle right here. So you want to line up the left side of the smoke dot on top of the orange area, just like that. So the left dot.
Molly.
Let's follow it. And it'll land perfectly for this bomb plant. And there's other one where if you were to rotate all the way around, or if you were to come from mid, you just be a couple steps up here in mail and just aim anywhere at the bottom left of this green sign.
Molly.
It should bounce off the back of the wall and land for the plant. You can also just, you know, come up a little higher.
Molly.
No, it'll do the same thing. Okay, so this last molly spot for that plant spot is you come into this corner. Let's say if you're hiding for your ult, you ult, and then you just back up a little bit until you see just this much of the wall. You just aim anywhere on this pipe,
Molly.
shoot it, and then it'll cover this bomb plant.
Got the
All right,
spike.
next up is the basic
drop.
plant spot right here behind the box. Very safe plant spot. Going CT, there are 4 lineups from
Right here.
this little spot. My favorite one is this one where I line up with the top of this dark area, dark little line. Line up the tip of the squiggly right here. I use this to for post plant and for denying enemies from planting the bomb on defense.
Molly.
Because this one lands really quickly, as you can see right now. Shoot it, boom, and very quickly. Same spot right here. There's multiple. There's three other ones, and these ones aren't as good in my opinion, but I'll show you anyways. You can just use it for other timing stuff on post plant or whatever, right? So right here, you line up with this little corner on this graffiti. So you line up the right side of the left line right there. Okay. Boom.
Molly.
Shoot it. And it'll bounce on the roof. Bounce on. Ends on the bomb. Boom, boom. Okay. Again, same thing. You line up with this little corner, but this time you line up with the line between the stim beacon and Molly icon, just like that.
Molly.
Shoot it. Bounce onto the box. Bounce onto the bomb. Lands perfectly. Takes a longer time, so I don't like it as much. Okay, next up is for that. You line up right here, about a little to the right of this little gray bar here. You line up that top of the little squiggly again, just like that.
Molly.
Shoot it. This one is very pixel perfect, and you just have to get it just perfectly, and it'll land right here, and it also covers the side of the bomb as well. Okay, next up, going garage, just right here. You hide behind this box, and when you hear someone defusing, you just peek out just enough, and then you can just aim anywhere in the bottom of this box, this second gray little box, just anywhere right there. You shoot it, and then it'll just bounce off the back wall and lands onto default plant. Okay, next up, right here. This one is actually found by Lazward.
Right here.
You stand in this corner, and you just aim anywhere. You have your crosshair about to the right here, touching right there, and then you just be around the middle of this green sign. You pop it.
Molly.
No, bounce off the back wall and lands right here. It'll cover default plant, and it also covers the other side. Cover this whole area. Pretty nice spot. Okay. Next one, all the way out here as well. You stand on the tire. This one, you can barely hear the bomb defuse, but it works. This one's found by a Reddit user called woninshot, and so you just have your crosshair aiming just at the corner of this building right here. Just aim right there.
Molly.
Shoot it. Again, it'll bounce off the back wall, and it'll cover this plant spot and then also this plant spot. Okay, and the last one, which I do quite often as well, where I plant the bomb and then I actually rotate all the way around, and I will just come up here until I see the balcony support of this little balcony support here. Once you see it, you just aim at it,
Molly,
and then you shoot it, and then it'll just bounce off the back wall and then deny this bomb plant. Next up is planting right here on this side of the box. I don't know if anyone would ever plant it right here, but just in case someone do, I have a lineup spot for that. So right here, you line up with the Porta Potty actually. So you walk into it, line up with the edge of the Porta Potty, walk into it, and then you line up with the corner of this paper right here. So you line up the line between Molly icon and smoke icon, the right side of that line, just like this.
Molly.
Shoot it, and then it'll bounce off the back of the wall. Perfectly lands with this bomb plant spot. All right.
Got the spike.
Next one is planted under Rafter, right in this back corner here. Sometimes you do have to plant right there, and I have 2 lineup spots for that. So going back outside garage, there's one that you stand on top of. You jump on top of this, I don't know, trash pile. Jump on top of this box. Line yourself up to the middle of the wooden beam, just like this, and then you aim to the right of this light, just like this. Okay. You see this light? You aim to the right of it.
Molly.
Land perfectly in this area. Like that. You could even use it to cover CT push. Okay, awesome. Another one is
right
you
here.
Don't jump on top. You stand in the bottom right here, and you're lined up with this corner right here. You line up the little white dot above the shoot indicator, just like this, and then pop it.
Molly.
This one should also land perfectly, covering this area. Next up would be planted right here, also underneath the Rafter, but on the other side of the box, right?
Got the spike.
You see this planted a lot often as well. And so you also go back out E main, and you actually stand in this corner, and you have your crosshair. You have your you line up with just about right here, this little corner of the satellite dish thing. So you line up the little white dot to that corner.
Molly.
Shoot it. It land perfectly. Yep, bounce off the back, land perfectly right here. Okay, there's other two spots where you lined up with this porta potty. You line up with this porta potty, and you aim at the left side of this light, just like this.
Molly.
Shoot it, and then it should bounce onto the bottom. Same thing. Again, you line up with the porta potty, just like this. Then you line up the left dot of the smoke icon with the corner right here of that paper. So you do it like this.
Molly.
It'll bounce off that building and lands perfectly on the bomb. The last one for that plant spot is you walk
right here.
Come into this corner, and you lined up with this light right here. Then you just line up. You just shoot anywhere when you're like right above this satellite dish. So again, you line up with this line just anywhere right above the satellite dish right here.
Molly.
Shoot it. It'll bounce behind the wall and then come back and cover the whole area. Last but not least, I also have a lineup here on B side which you can use to combo with Killjoy ult. When your Killjoy ult's right here, it only ever leaves this little corner in the back, starting from over here, for the enemy to hide. So I have a lineup spot to cover that area. So look at this white dot here. So what happened is you line up the top of these little triangles on your molly shoot icon to that little white dot, and then you have your mouse just on the slightly to the left of the other white dot, as you can see right there.
Molly.
Shoot it, and the molly should land perfectly in this corner, covering this whole area so that there's not really any room for the enemy to hide when you take the site. So that's it for all the lineup spots on Split, where you can find in picture form in the document below. Hopefully these lineup spots would help make some plays to surprise your teammates and enemies when you play Brimstone. I'm gonna roll some highlight clips of me pulling a few of these off. Hope to see you guys on stream watching me pull these off live as well.
Open up the sky! Molly!
Oh my god, I love it.
One enemy remaining.
That's 3.
It's lovely. See, this is why you're
Some
fucking
things you
mortal
just
buildings.
can't teach.
That is why they put you in charge.
Open up the sky! Molly!
One enemy remaining.
Sorry, kid. He's got the lineup.
Hey yo!
Clutch.
Let's go, let's go.
Well played, man.
You got this.
Open up the sky! Molly! Toasted!
One enemy remaining.
That's 3.
Clutch.
Some things you just can't teach.
You see why I love the guy? Actually, okay.
Molly!
Yeah, right now.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
My smokes can block the enemy's line of sight. Once they're blind, we move.